And joining me in the studio here in Doha is Georgia's President, Mikhail Saakashvili. Thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you for inviting me.
You've had quite a week. NATO seems to have put your membership on a back burner. Do you think this is NATO saying that they're backing off from admitting you altogether?
Well, first of all, I need to underline how thrilled I am to be here, Al Jazeera's native studio here in Doha. I think this not only has your channel transformed the world, I think, and it helped to change the whole world of information. But it's
Thank you. We often forget to do the niceties.
No, it's a brilliant example of how through modern technologies, how for freedom of speech and media, a small state like Qatar can become as important as it has become to be a real informational superpower and to be amazing emerging economy. I've been going around. I mean, the world crisis can also be felt here, but you really see this power of transformation, which is remarkable, for having been from the country which has also transformed itself dramatically for the last 5 years.
Is freedom of speech something important in Georgia?
Well, I think Georgian television, in Georgia, doing television is kind of like some kind of national sport. I think we had the most vibrant television stations in Eastern and Central Europe. I've been to many of them, and if you compare, I mean, we still have, I mean, our journalists have their way to do, but you know, we have 27 independent central and regional channels in Georgia for a country of less than 5 million people. That almost makes no commercial sense, but it makes lots of psychological, political, and economic sense. I mean, all wider economic sense to have it.
So how did those channels and how did you respond to NATO's decision?
Well, I think I don't agree with the interpretation they backed up. On the contrary, until now we were deadlocked on NATO. Until now, it was like one country or two countries blocking further Georgia's progress. Now, what NATO has essentially done, they put away the issue of membership action plan, which was a traditional way to get into NATO, and said that without prejudice to that decision, but that Georgia, and for that purpose also Ukraine, should proceed towards NATO membership. And they did. So politically we got a message that Georgia has progressed despite the war. And this was one of the goals of that war, to kill overall the Georgia's NATO aspirations. And we had progress on the ground because NATO is establishing liaison office and commission with Georgia. That means as a vehicle for full-fledged membership of Georgia. So I have no reason to be unhappy with the decision. I think this is a great decision. This was the smart way to go around these roadblocks that were redacted. And frankly, it exceeded my expectations.
Do you also like their decision to thaw relations with Russia?
Well, NATO has said, and Secretary General Scheffer said it today, I think in New York Times, this is a gradual, informal relations. But the issues they will be discussing with Russia will be whether Russia is able to abide by international rules, whether Russia is able to be tolerant towards emerging democracies on its border. And I think from that point of view, having dialogue with Russia is helpful. It's one thing to have, you know, I think there is place for everybody. You know, Europe or Euro-Atlantic space or all the others should have and will have relations with Russia. We have no doubts about it. But there is always also place for countries like Georgia that are emerging democracy, emerging economic success, but that are badly hit by this erratic Russian behavior, to also places for those countries to be on their own and to develop.
So where does it leave your relationship with the breakaway republics now, South Ossetia and Abkhazia?
No, but you won't call it that breakaway republics. These are places occupied by Russia. These are occupied areas by foreign power.
You did promise voters when you came to power that you'd get them back.
I mean, yes, except that, you know, this was no longer a Georgian internal issue. The point here is that it has been occupied by foreign power, and we have a situation of ethnic cleansing. We have, in a country of less than 5 million people, almost 500,000 refugees that are the people of all ethnic origins that were thrown out because of their either the wrong language they spoke for the occupiers, or they had wrong loyalties. And these are people from all different ethnic communities. And the whole idea of multi-ethnic, multi-religious, multicultural Georgia was attacked by this brutal Russian invasion. The whole idea of Georgia's economic success, and Georgia was an economic miracle in post-Soviet space, was undermined.
Critics will say that Georgia, in fact, led the attack on South Ossetia, that it wasn't justified.
Look, I think this is shifting thing to a totally wrong place. You know, for the same token, you could have said Poland has started Second World War. Why? Because Germans were claiming that Poles attacked first and killed 2 German soldiers. So this is certainly an utter nonsense. The reality is
what proof do you have that Russia
the proof is the reality, what we have on the ground. The reality is who attacked whom. There was never a single Georgian soldier on Russian soil. We were invaded by 85 20,000 people, by 3,200 armor, by 200 planes, and I can assure you that even planes can fly over the mountains, and we have this wonderful natural border, Caucasian mountain. They are not designed to contain Russian planes, although 3,200 tanks couldn't have come into Georgia within few hours, as Russians are claiming that it took months and years of preparation. And of course, it was large-scale invasion.
Why didn't you say initially that this was happening, that Russia was doing this? How come that information came out from your side only after you'd gone into South Ossetia?
The Foreign Ministry of Georgia made a statement already 2 days before the large-scale fighting erupted that there are Russian troops and equipment inside Georgia. It somehow was not taken by Western media, but for simple reasons, because people were so much used that there was this blame game going on because Russia has been preparing for a while and there has been a set of provocations, so it got lost. But we made official statement. It's easily available. I tried officially to contact President Medvedev 24 hours beforehand to try to convince him to pull out the troops, and we invited every single foreign ambassador in Georgia on the ground 2 days prior to large-scale hostility to see bombarded villages, to see killed people, to see destroyed populations, to show them that Georgia was not coming under attack. Nobody denies those facts. The reality is that simply when the war has erupted, it has overshadowed all the things. But the reality, the results of this war, is that we have 20% of our territory occupied, we have 500,000 refugees, we have Russia annexing parts of sovereign territory of Georgia, and we have all the attempts to undermine Georgia, but I think they've failed.
And there seem to be attempts to undermine your grip of power. I know the leader of the opposition, who's incredibly popular in Georgia, is calling for new elections to remove you from power. Are you
well, I don't know where
about...
you've taken who is incredibly popular. What I've been hearing from all the polls, Gallup polls and the others, that Georgia's government has 70% approval rating as late as last week. So we still have an incredibly popular government in Georgia. We hope to develop more viable opposition, and I think we have very good contact with opposition in parliament. The people whom we are quoting are not in parliament. They've not even made it into parliament. And I think what Georgia is good for is the vibrant democracy. It's an open society. We are responding to Russian aggression by not shutting down society, but on the contrary, by new wave of democratic reforms, new opening for the media, new opening for more open economy. And because Georgia has been, we have been shining example in many ways for democratic transformation from a failed corrupt state to a non-corrupt, free society, but we still have a long way to go. And we respond by, we've almost tripled our economy for the last 5 years. We were the biggest per capita recipient of direct foreign investment, and it didn't come just out of the blue, because of the reforms, because of openness, because Georgia has some, we don't have oil and gas, but we have something that people in the regions don't have. Freedom, we have a democratic system, efficient government, non-corrupt system, and overall open economy. We are not only going to keep it, we are going to develop it even further. And, my term expires in 2013. Then I will no longer be president because I can only stand for 2 terms. There are many other leaders around me who will become...
Before you go, if you excuse me interrupting because we're running out of time, sadly, what do you make of the new U.S. administration? What do you think your relationship will be with Barack Obama?
Well, look, first of all, I have to say that, Joe Biden came to Georgia when the Russian bombs were falling on us in August. He took personal risks. He stayed with us. He initiated appropriation of $1 billion assistance from U.S. Congress at very hard times, and then it was followed by $4 billion from other sources. So that Georgia has got tremendous package to go through this difficult world economic times. But I had Hillary Clinton a few years ago nominated me for Nobel Peace Prize. Although I've never met her, but I've spoken to her several times over the phone. I know very well Bill Clinton, since he was no longer president in office, but we had very good interaction with him. I had very good conversation with Barack Obama over the phone, and I have great admiration for Barack Obama.
And we're going to have to leave it there. I'm terribly sorry. Thank you very much for talking to us. Georgia's President Mikhail Saakashvili, and thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.